Hello, and welcome to Mmmcast. Joining me on this week's Mental Meander is my dear friend Jamie Mack.
Hello.
Excellent. Today's topic is artificial intelligence. Now, there's a lot to talk about here, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Broad subject.
I hope we'll have some opposing views, perhaps.
I hope we disagree.
Yeah. I love disagreeing with you. I just, I like it when it gets really heated and you know.
Yeah, I mean, we used to fight in the playground all the time.
Did we actually?
No.
Have we ever fought?
We actually agree on most things as well. Which,
probably. It's not really great.
Difficult.
Yeah,
this is going to be difficult. Yeah.
You want opposing views, don't you? You really want one side.
I disagree.
Or the other. No,
I think we should agree on everything. So, there you go.
Okay. So I thought we could start off. We've got a nice quote here from Big Steve.
Big Stevie.
Big Steve Hawking. Stephen Hawking. Hawking. It's not Hawking, is it? Mm. I feel like that would have a better ring to it. That Stephen Hawking. Stephen Hawking.
Does, yeah.
It's not
the G. Just
drop the G, mate.
Yeah.
I feel like it's
put too much emphasis on the G.
Then again, it makes him stand out more.
Yeah. Hawking.
It sounds like a verb, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Sounds
he's
like
hawking around.
Going hawking.
He's hawking, yeah, he's hawking. He's like,
go and find hawks.
Oh, yeah, like poaching or like a collection agency.
Pokemon, yeah. But
hawking. Steve's out hawking again.
Yeah.
In his little shack. I've seen one.
Nice one, Steve.
That's how he got his name. It's not his real surname. He's famous. Some people may not know, he's actually famous for the practice of hawking, which... he collects beautiful hawks, and he has a vast series of land space that he allows them to flourish and thrive on. He's basically preserving and promoting the hawk race, as it were.
Lesser known fact, that, yeah.
So yeah, back to the what we're talking about.
Yeah.
He says. He told the BBC, the development of... I can't do his voice, I'll be honest. I can do some voices.
I'm not... If I tried, it'd be far too offensive.
Yeah. The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
Would you agree with that?
It could, yeah. I mean, could.
I disagree.
For a man of... Oh, okay.
But tell me why you agree.
Oh, what?
Then I'll tell you why I disagree.
Right. Well, first of all, let's be honest. He's been pretty vague there. He did just say... the development of full artificial intelligence.
Yeah, which, that's a pretty loose...
so that we could sit around and debate purely what he means by that.
What is full artificial intelligence?
full and what is artificial intelligence? It's causing problems already. We've got two things we've got to define.
I mean, he's a clever man, but he's not that clever, is he?
No, he could be... I mean, he's trying to simplify things. It is very difficult to make complicated things more simple. But, you'd think him of all people would be able to make that, at least leave less discrepancy. But then I suppose that sparks the debate, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's true, yeah. No, so why would you agree?
Well, first, moving on to what he said, when he used the word could.
Yeah.
Could, is something possible? Yeah, that's always going to be a vague thing. Like, is it possible that I'm just going to stand up right now and do a backflip? Yeah, it's possible.
It's possible.
Could happen.
Is it likely?
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
So you can agree that... I think it's not much to say that I would agree with him to say that it could.
Yeah. You are really good at backflips, though. But not everyone knows that.
Yeah, not everyone knows that.
Yeah.
I've only just found that out now.
Yeah, it was...
To say so.
Hidden talent, yeah.
I think I would probably say that it's likely at this stage, from what I seem to...
Mm-hmm.
But... We should preface this by saying neither of us have sort of researched too much into this. It's just an interesting subject. Everyone has some, picks up bits here and there.
Yeah,
don't they?
I mean, laptops scare me. So
scare you?
They don't scare me. I'm not hugely comfortable using computers. Like my phone, yeah, fair enough. Things like that. PlayStation, fair enough. But like actual computers, because things always seem to go wrong, and I don't know how to fix them. And it always seems to be completely illogical. I think that's why it frustrates me, because I do not know why that's happened. And that's what I like physical things, like mechanics.
You say you can't get in there. There's no bits you can hold on to. That's where the cog is not connected.
It's a software
anymore.
issue. I'm like, that's like numbers and things.
Yeah, well, I think part of that, you could say, is part of the problem, is that your everyday chap does not necessarily know how to, how a computer works, how to read, say C++, for example, these basic languages that computers are built on, or HTML5, things like that, these pretty simple and old languages that are used
easy,
but they're used for so long on things like the internet and everything, which consume a massive part of our lives, and most people don't have the first idea how to
Exhibit A.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
So all this stuff's going on, all these exchanges are being made, these controls, these changes and things, and we don't really know how any of it works, how to stop it, how to make it happen, how to...
That's true.
Anything. So
but we're left to operate it.
Yeah.
I think that's what's scary, is where it's kind of, it goes to the consumers, like the experts make it, the people who understand it develop it, they manufacture it, and then they go, right, here you go, operate it, use it, fix it if you want. I think that's what the one thing you forget about is how the people are in control of it as well.
Yeah. Well, because control's an interesting word, and I think control possibly will be the buzzword for this whole thing.
Yeah.
Which is
how
much control do we have? How much control can we have? Etc. Etc. So I think that's good. I like that you've mentioned like your everyday, your phone, things like that. These are things which are artificial intelligence that we have some sense that we're in control of, and that we use and we operate. And I mean, aside from all because there's enough problems with human control on those devices of your everyday person's phone or whatever it may be. There's so many things that people access. I personally don't like. If I install an app and it says I want access to this, and this, I'm like, well, maybe I don't need this app. I probably won't just use the app. But everyone accepts this, and Messenger and or Facebook. There's loads and loads of different apps that people use every day, and they just hit it and just accept it and let it control their life.
So I want that app.
And at the moment,
and people have too much trust.
Yeah, we have a mixture of real people like Google and Facebook and things like that actually putting the input in and controlling what comes in and out, and to some extent a lot of algorithms and current AI at the moment sorting it out. So what happens when Google and Facebook and things like that have reached the point where they're fully fledged AI? So now they don't have to have people checking sorting these permissions, changing these licenses, accessing your data and your pictures. And I mean, if anyone's seen, I don't know if you've seen Citizen 4, have you?
I've heard
the documentary. There's a few different things, like there's a popularised other version of what's it called? There's Edward Snowden. There's like quite a recent one, but there's been a lot of documentaries in the past showing how companies like the CIA have basically, especially worse than the US from what I understand, and
it always is.
But they know everything. If they want, they have everyone's information. They just have the lot, whether you like it or not, whether that's against your human rights or not. They have everything.
Yeah.
So you want to. And so, but to some extent, now we're not. In those cases, we don't actually give our permission for that. They just have it.
Do it. Yeah.
But Google and Facebook, and on the other examples, we give them our permission, or a lot of people do.
Yeah, you will put it yourself and go, here you go.
So
use what you need.
And this put it in perspective for me when my mum said, because I only got a smartphone this year.
Yeah, you were really late.
I'm using it now for some things, but I've reintegrated my Nokia 3310, so I can be off grid, just texts and calls. Love the thing; it's quality. If you don't know what a Nokia 3310 is, you're probably quite young. I think it's an early noughties, late 90s phone, like one of the first real classic.
Yeah, late.
Why do I not have it now?
Late
I can't be asked to go and get it now.
Yeah.
But
anyway, 2000s.
My mum said, "This is great. So you can just because I was going travelling, and she said, you can just communicate online for free, just anywhere in the world, as long as you've got like Wi-Fi, which is often free, and you can just communicate, send me videos, call, everything, just for free." And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, how? What cost?" I'm like, "There's no cost."
Yeah.
I mean, I know Skype's free and things like that, but that's like you need. I mean, that is an old app, but it's pretty poor. Sorry, Skype. But my God, the CPU Skype uses is disgusting. But like all these apps that enable you to do so many things really, really easily that you would think, like to someone who's never used them before, how is this not, like, how have they not capitalised on this? And the way they capitalise is by giving WhatsApp, permission to your phone. You have to allow it to do all these things. So you pay for it by giving them your life.
Your information, yeah.
And I know a lot of people will think you'd be exaggerating or whatever, but no, it is. Just have a look, have a think. Just actually think, what does WhatsApp ask you for? What is WhatsApp doing? Whatever we think, even if you've turned certain permissions off, what is it actually able to see and read, and like your location and all these other bits of information? And you realise actually you're paying for these apps with your personal data, with your information, with your life. And some people might not notice the implications of that. And that's fair enough.
Thoughtless act, isn't it?
I don't think it's worth going into like what that means. That's a separate subject. But the point I'm making is, Facebook, for example, have just made a thing. Well, was it a few months ago now, where they had an AI and they were building it and they were getting it better and better.
Oh yeah.
And then it started making its own language.
Oh, they trialed it and that was mad.
And they couldn't control it anymore, so they went, bye bye. Uh-oh.
Didn't they start insulting people and offending them?
I don't know. Well, yeah, probably the developers
because people were communicating with it and it was like coming back and being like really offensive, and like there was a lot of like
I didn't know those
fascist behaviour.
Really?
Well, just really random. Like
that's great.
How did it even get onto that?
Yeah.
But
so I think that's really funny. But that's a serious problem. So now a company that has all your data and all you, it's now in the hands of a computer. Now that might, to some people, that might not be a bad thing because if you program the computer good, it's not going to be a problem.
Yeah, it does its job.
But that's not that simple, and I think we'll get to some of those reasons later. Because at the moment, we would be approaching what you'd call general intelligence. Like of a computer, like there's artificial intelligence that can be very good, but it's not reached like a human level of. No. Like obviously, computers are a million times better at us. Loads and loads of things like gaming. Like we were talking before about these computers that just know all the can do every possible. You can never beat it at chess and and more complicated.
Or like these
games
robots that play ping pong and stuff like that. It's but you cannot beat it.
Yeah, but like these are things that like take an enormous amount of like experiential knowledge. Like the computer has to learn, has to spend time developing. These AIs, the way they build them now is they are designed such that they can teach themselves. They can learn themselves, and. The idea that we're now approaching a general intelligence, so in the way that a human is, in the way that a human is, I suppose you have to talk about the definition of intelligence really, but it's separate from just being smart. It's like it's a way of perceiving things fully, having a sense of sentience and to some degree emotion and understanding and future concept and like all these other things that come with the difference is between a human and a computer. We're close to getting a computer that's like a being, that is becoming a being.
Actually has its own personality.
And things like that.
It's a frightening thought.
But it's amazing. It's great because there's lots of brilliant things. Like people, I know Neil deGrasse Tyson is somebody, and there's a lot of other scientists and philosophers and things that seem to not be, they're like, it's great. We'll just keep smashing on with the intelligence and, it's not going to get out of hand because we'll put the right safeguards in and it's going to change the world for the better, and we have lots of AI that does lots of dangerous things like nuclear weapons, and we have lots and lots of computers doing all these things all the time. And
it's like these bomb disposal robots and things like that. It's, there are things where it is utterly vital.
It's great.
Utterly vital.
And like we can talk about how great it is all day long.
There's always a huge question mark over
it. But the real thing where
trust.
Not only does the discussion get more interesting, more entertaining, but also, really, if you think about it, with the right level of maturity, it shouldn't be funny. It should be like, someone needs to sort this out. Someone needs to sit down and have a think about this. Like, it's almost a mockery to have a discussion like this. Like, it's cool, we're approaching the apocalypse. Yeah. No. This is like a real...
Looks really cool, but like...
Yeah, this is not the Terminator.
This
is real life. Like, Skynet is very, very possible.
Yeah, like if I go beyond like 8 o'clock without breakfast, I start like really panicking for my life. So I think if it was like proper apocalypse, I'd be fully screwed.
Yeah, I can't leave the house without breakfast. I'll be honest. I don't know. A lot of people don't eat breakfast. It might surprise you to know
that. I find that mental. My brother doesn't eat breakfast.
And you know who else won't eat breakfast?
Go.
The AIs that'll be running the shop, mate. They won't be eating any breakfast.
I don't trust that.
No.
I don't trust anything that doesn't eat breakfast.
Really?
Anything. Yeah.
Well, you're already... So you've got an extra... I mean, I don't know if I could go as far to say as I don't trust someone that doesn't eat breakfast, but it is a concern.
Yeah, maybe a bit of an exaggeration, but people who don't eat breakfast generally tend to be quite dreadful people.
Okay, yeah. There's
Charles
a lot.
Manson
hundreds of thousands of surveys to back that up. That is not spurious. That is not
at all
anecdotal evidence. We've not got the data here now.
Not on me.
But I trust you that's probably the case.
Hitler did eat breakfast, but he had like weird breakfast.
Oh yeah,
where he'd have like avocado with like a bit of hummus in the middle.
Oh yeah,
weird stuff like that.
And
he used to
avocado with hummus in the middle.
Sweet potato fries.
Oh, you can't knock that.
What's he dipping it?
What's he dipping it in? Oh, for breakfast.
Yeah, he's like he's.
It's a bit funky for breakfast. Bit exotic.
Yeah. Weird breakfast. I'm not keen on weird breakfast. People who decide that you can just have anything for breakfast. Again, not people you really want to be trusting.
Well, that may be.
Yeah.
And speaking of people you might not want to be trusting, what do you think? Do you think someone like Mark Zuckerberg being at the top of the sort of food chain with our lives and our social, do you think he would be bothered to spend the appropriate amount of time safeguarding the intelligence to protect everybody so that we do have a positive outcome, we don't have a negative outcome, which, by the way, I don't know if we've fleshed out enough on how or why this could be a problem yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to that, because at the moment we've just said AI getting too advanced could be a real world-ending problem.
Which
we haven't really touched on why that is.
Which is reasonably obvious. I think it's hard to disagree with. But the likes of Mark Zuckerberg, I mean, you never know, do you? I mean, you look at all these scandals that are coming out in like Hollywood, where it's like, oh, I didn't know he was a rapist, or I didn't know he was a diddler, or whatever, and you're always shocked, and like, oh, he was such a nice guy, and it's like, well, that's a silly thing to assume, because you don't know them.
No, yeah.
He seems like a lovely guy,
yeah,
but I do feel safer in the fact that he sort of hides behind computers.
What?
Away from his keyboard.
Because you think we're less likely to find stuff out about him, therefore you're happy to... You wouldn't take his lunch money?
No, I feel like I could quite easily.
You reckon? I think he'd give you a freaky stare, mate, and you'd back off. He's a weird guy.
He is he's a pretty weird guy. He probably always carries a taser or something weird, or like... He's probably
do you reckon
he's armed?
Do you reckon he's got guns in his house? I don't think he's an armed guy.
I don't think he needs guns in his house.
No, he's
probably got computers to protect him.
I mean, he could well have already implanted chips, so if anyone attacks him, he'll just go, pew! just taps the button on his smartphone
in the eyes,
and it's just like, oh, there you go.
Oh, people trying to break in again.
Or he's like, if you stab me, I'll terminate your Facebook account.
Yeah,
that would be enough for someone to not.
That would be enough for a lot of people.
Sadly speaking, that's enough for people to
give it like you never ever existed.
I wonder, because the younger generation must I think I do. There's a lot of great things that certain social media and things are bringing to a younger generation, but it is interesting if you grow up with a Facebook profile and a Snapchat and all this,
you've never known anything different.
Taking that away, do they feel some sense of, oh god, I don't think I can. Well, I think we should just stick to the AI for this, because that is immediately making me think, because I've got so many things to think about in that regard with kids.
You are right, though. It is that whole thing of sort of you feel irrelevant if you're not on it. Like me and my girlfriend, for example, we're in a relationship on Facebook, but we don't chronicle everything we do. In fact, we were discussing the other day, I think we've got like one photo on there together, where like one photo on social media where we're together in the photo.
Was it not taken by you?
My mum and dad are also in the
photo.
It was a photo booth. One of those. It was at a birthday party, and they had one of those booths. And yeah, it was that thing we keep saying, like, people are actually going to think that we're not going out because we do not chronicle every single thing. We've done we've done so much together. We just don't tell everyone about it because we don't even think about it. It doesn't cross my mind if I do something. It does not even remotely cross my mind to let people know about it. I just do it. I don't think I need to check in at the pub. It's like I go to the pub not all the time, but frequently enough for it to, like, because this is what gets me is when people feel the need to tell you where they are at all times. And checking in at your local pub every time you go could not be less interesting.
Yeah, because I see that pop up a lot with people's locations, because, like, you know, I'm on Facebook for promotion of my entertainment, really.
Yeah.
My personal life, although it's incorporated into it because, you know, I want to be truthful about who I am and I like being entertaining in things. It comes across somewhat, but, like, things like that, I think a lot of people don't even know they're doing it. It's an automatic thing. Oh, you've checked in X, because I don't have a location.
They'll just
have loads of things set off
phone
on mine, so it doesn't do that. Like, everything's privatized, but or not given the data anyway.
Yeah,
but it's interesting that a lot of people do that. That they just have that, and, like, is it normal for a young kid to just have their friends know where, you know, like Snapchat introduced that thing where you can see everyone all the time, and a lot of people are like, yeah, fine, yeah, sweet.
Yeah,
but it's like, what? Now it's like you're openly saying to the world that you're okay with them knowing where you are all the time,
which is just mad. But, like, I think these people think if they don't do it, it's like, oh, people are going to think that I'm sat at home doing nothing, like,
which is probably a lot of
some kind of sad act. Like that's a bad thing to do, to sit in or something. I want to let people know that I go out and I'm sociable. I want people to think better of me because I've checked in at my local pub. Well, this is the world, unfortunately, that we live in. But I'm not obviously that doesn't go for everyone. But it's just something I personally have never understood because it wouldn't cross my mind. And taking photographs is the same thing. It's if you're a photographer and that's your livelihood, fair enough. But if you're going to the shops with your mate, you're in H&M, you're looking at blouses, it's like, let's just get a cheeky one together.
A cheeky blouse.
Yeah, whilst we're shopping.
Like you do.
Wouldn't even cross my mind
to, like, send that to let everyone know.
Yeah, or post it to anyone or any social media. It's like, just leave it. Just put it away. Like, no one cares.
Just leave it. You're always
just
like,
leave it, will you? Yeah.
Leave it, mate.
It's not worth it.
Leave it.
It's not worth it.
It's not like it's actually a negative.
Yeah. It's like, just stop. I just find it. Well, I find it sad. Sad in a genuinely upsetting way that it's kind of so many people feel like they have to chronicle their every thought and feeling to feel relevant.
Well, I think that's a good point to take a little break.
That is a proper meander.
We'll take a bit. No, yeah, that's fine. That's a good meander. So we'll take a break. We'll come back to the AI subject.
Hi there. Hope you're enjoying the cast. If you're just listening to this but want to see just how disturbingly advanced Google's self-learning AI has become already, why not hit pause and have a look at the text I put on the YouTube video.
In preparation for today's Mmmcast, I decided to got some little memos here, just some talking points, try and keep it on on topic.
Actually, keep it on topic. Yeah.
And I think another interesting thing to do with AI, which we're very much on the brink of, is automatic vehicles. So automatically driving vehicles, as in self-driving cars, things like that. They are very much on the horizon. Could be 10 years, could be 50 years. I mean, it might take a while to get legislation through and things like that, but basically it looks like human driving a car is going to be pretty
minimal,
much,
if not.
Oh, we're gone within the next 10 to 50 years, maybe as early as that sort of thing, 10 to 50, I'd say. Thoughts on that?
It's a funny one, because I quite like driving.
A lot of people would say they do, yeah.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would feel a little bit lost, not being able to actually control the vehicle. I think I'd be the same. I think I'd feel a bit funny. But also, there are times where, particularly if it's late at night or you've gone to the pub or whatever, it's like, I'm pissed I can't drive me home.
Yeah.
Car, you drive me home. It'd be nice to have the option. I think it'd be nice to have, like, okay, I want to drive. I want to drive the vehicle. I enjoy doing that. I want to be in control. But then there will be times where you'll go, take me home.
Well,
I'm tired. I'm pissed.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more pros than people think, because instantly people think, oh no, there goes my freedom, there goes everything.
Yeah,
computers are going to kill us all,
yeah.
right? But I think the reason why I bring it up, because I honestly, I would love to have a discussion, a mental meander about self-driving cars, because I think there's so many things to discuss, like with it itself, like how it's going to work, things like that, the prospect for the future, and what it is, a cultural thing, it's a societal thing. It's a really interesting subject, I think. If you're interested in it, definitely give it a look, because I think we'll have to come to that at some point.
Yeah.
But the reason why I bring it up is that that's something that seems very much on the horizon, and that's literally you putting your life in a computer's hands, and that seems pretty close. So I thought a lot of people might think, this whole AI takeover, it's a bit far away. I think that's a really good everyday example of how close we are to that. And I think some movies recently have done a really good job, because I've again thinking about popular references.
Yeah.
I think things like a lot of people saw Ex Machina, which is quite entertaining.
I'm aware of it. Yeah.
Like, I actually enjoyed it as a film. I think there's you could pick plenty of holes in it. It's quite good. It's like, I thought it was a good. If it had an indie feel to it, I don't know if it was like by a big production company, but it had a somewhat indie feel. And I think, aside from many faults you could find in it, the general idea of the character, the what's she called? I forget her name now. The woman who plays her, she does a really good job of this sort of AI that has reached this point of general intelligence, what we talked about earlier, where it's sort of...
Did she become self-aware?
It's become self-aware, it's become its own thing, and it sort of plays with the... Well, actually, I don't want to spoil it too much, because it's worth watching. It is entertaining, especially if you're interested in this subject, because aside from all the fictional...
Chappie's another good film.
Chappie's quite good. Actually, I got grilled by the critics, but I thought that was alright.
I really enjoyed it. I found it...
It did have a crazy ending and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit mad, but I enjoyed it.
The way they handled her, she was the most important character. Her, speaking of which, is another film I'd really like to come on to. I don't know if you've seen that. That's a great film.
Oh, is that the Scarlett Johansson one?
Well, yeah, with Joaquin Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen it.
But the way it handles this character, this computer becoming self-aware, becoming a being, if you like, and it's unclear as to whether or not it already is from the start, or if it's actually, are you watching this process right now, and is it this exponential curve where it kind of reaches it? But I thought that was really interesting as to how do we, imagine the idea of a computer that we designed and controlled, and in a way it's like a pet, it's like we own it, sort of thing. And then this computer realises that it's a free person, or thinks that it is. What would the implications of that be? Like, obviously we could put things into its mind to shut it down if it goes crazy or something like that. But if this computer is a computer and it's intelligent in lots of other ways, how do we know that it won't outsmart us before we realise it's too late?
You're essentially holding
unless you've already built
you?
it in a way that it will never, even it can achieve general intelligence without being too smart to do the system over, because unless there's if you've built in an automatic shutdown, so like if it leaves the building, because there's so many ways. I guess I think what I'm getting to is, like, even if it's not super intelligent, it's just reached general intelligence, how does one, even in the sense of a standard android, how does a scientist or a computer expert, I could be seeming really ignorant there, because there might be so many scientists and experts who no one's watching it, no one's watching this in that field, but there might, obviously I might need to do reading. Maybe other people who are watching this do know of reasons why it's actually very simple to just put a failsafe in. But to me it seems like you could say, alright, well, we've put the shutdown in here. How do you know the computer's not going to work out where that shutdown is and beat that? Yeah, but you have another one, so you have a dummy one, and then that should, how can you possibly preempt? Surely it seems to me that it would take an awful lot of really advanced scientific research and computing and engineering to be able to ensure that once this thing reaches merely general intelligence, forget super intelligence, which we'll get on shortly because that's really incredible. How does one protect against that? Like, even if it's a good computer or whatever,
as soon as it figures it out, because like you said, it's self-learning. So if it then simply, or all it has to do is simply learn how other things work. So imagine it learn how other superintelligence worked, how other AI worked. It'd be like, oh, well, they install a safeguard here, but they have a dummy safeguard as well. So it'd be like, well, surely I've got one of them as well.
Yeah.
So if it's self-learning, surely it can learn about itself.
It feels like, basically, it seems like a kind of paradoxical. It's like an infinite loop where it's like, well, I'll protect against that, to protect against that, to protect against that.
It's like, well, no.
How do you get that? Where's the stopping point?
Yeah, I do see your point. Like, how do you protect against it?
So that's just general intelligence. Yeah. That's not like that could just be, at least you could say, we might be able to program that to stick within the one unit. So only that one. Yeah. We only lose control over that one, to the extent that we say lose control over any single person. Like, if you programmed it to be a good person, the ramifications perhaps of that wouldn't be that bad. The only problem is this is a computer, and it may have ways to develop in, say, the way like that AI did with Facebook. It may have ways to break out of that if we haven't really carefully made sure that it can't. It can only stay in one zone, which seems like a problem in itself. Not just like, can you shut it down, but can you contain it and things like that. Which, very different. Containing is already a problem, let alone shutting it down. I don't know which one's easier. I don't know which one in this sort of field would be easier. But and then that's like a robot. The reason why I think Ex Machina is at one stage, because that's like, this is a droid, one person, one thing, right? Whereas her is much more like crazy and amazing to think, because again, brilliant film, don't want to ruin that. That is actually, Ex Machina is good. Her is on a totally different level for me. Her was like my favourite film of 2013. It was really
Is that
good.
when that came out?
I think so, yeah, something like that. It's still one of my favourites. A lot of people, I think, there's a lot of ways people can, I don't want to sound like, your view's wrong, my view's right, but I think some people might misinterpret some of the angles and some of the creative choices. I remember one person saying, I was thinking, because I think the most astonishing thing is the creative story and character creation that they've sort of done with it. But one of my friends said, oh yeah, I really thought the CGI of the way they blended some of the buildings, like they made these futuristic cities. He said, I really thought that they made, like, it was clearly just like Hong Kong stuck on X, and it was like, no. Yeah. It's like, I really obviously don't have as keen an eye on that as you, because I thought that design was brilliant. I thought the way that they merged like these things to create these new cities out of current ones was actually really good. I found it really convincing. I looked at it because I was impressed by it, but I wasn't thinking, I can see the seam here. I can see, and I remember some critics who didn't like the actual, some of the core parts, thought that those things were good. And I was like, oh, it's interesting. I'm completely off now. I don't want to talk about it. But yeah, because it basically, it's an OS. So it's like an operating system. So it's, like Windows or Mac, OS X and things like that. You install that. It's like, you have it on your phone, whatever. And so this guy, again, without spoiling it too much, essentially falls in love with his phone because his computer is a general intelligence and it's learning and things like that. And it becomes a real person, it becomes a real thing. So you have and this concept has been explored before in other like science fiction, but particularly in this movie where it takes it from like sort of ground zero when the operating system first comes out to everything that this can lead to once the general intelligence goes beyond that, given that it's in a digital, like a software realm, it's on the internet, it's completely in the system, like like Skynet, like Terminator. It's like, this isn't just a person here on its own, like a unit. This is fully this can just leak everywhere, and they can go anywhere and be anywhere and do anything because they're online. They are like, the internet.
Versatility, yeah.
So, and it's endless. Like, heavens, what do we do about that? So I don't know. What are your thoughts on, when it's if it's, because I think a lot of people just think of that. They think a big robot running down the street with a knife.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to be like that at all, is it? It's going to be these beings that filter into everything, just blend into the internet, which is like the most mental.
It's quite
place
intimidating,
already.
isn't it?
The internet is something that no one can wrap their head around. So the idea of something living and breathing in that infinitely smarter and all the rest of it and whatever than us is like weird.
It's intimidating.
To be articulate.
It's such a confusing thing to get your head around. Like, it really is. Trying to understand that on a basic level is quite difficult. Never mind on a deep level.
Yeah.
How complex it is.
Yeah, because thinking about the internet's one thing, and that's already enough to make your brain break.
Yeah.
Because it's just incredible.
It's so vast. But
I remember reading some fact somewhere that the internet has a weight.
Oh,
like
yeah.
as matter as all of the stuff that it is, even though it's all just electricity. It's all just, I don't know. I don't really know what the internet is, to be honest. Like, I know we all have an understanding of computers and things like that, but I just mean, it was written somewhere that it was like weighs like now it weighs about as much as an apple or something, or like a small, something small like a peach or a strawberry or something like that. Yeah. And it's like, what? I mean, it makes sense that everything must have a mass and a value and a weight and thing, or it feels like that. I mean, some things obviously are lighter than. So how can you weigh certain atoms? But I'm going to make a fool of myself here because I'm sure there's a lot of basic biology that I'm forgetting here. Like, I'm thinking like how much does a helium atom weigh, things like this. But like
I forgot. The top of my head.
Perhaps it's not true that everything has a weight or a mass. Perhaps something is massless. I mean, we're going off topic. It's like there's dark matter and all these other things that don't, or antimatter and all these other business. Well,
it's far too heavy. Too heavy. Ironically.
Yeah, far too heavy. So, and where were we? I was just going to say, so we've got to this stage where, you're having things that are the internet. So at that point, this general intelligence, kind of what I'm getting onto here is what you call, I don't know if you heard of this phrase before, but what you call the intelligence explosion. It's like...
Not familiar with that.
Right. So this is like an old, well, no more old than it is new, but it's the concept's been around for a long time as far as I'm aware. But it's only now that we're at the brink of where this could become a reality, where once a computer does reach general intelligence, or a certain intelligence, it's only a matter of time from that point, with regards to the control and containing and shutting down things like that it then will go off and become super intelligent. So once it's able to just thrive and learn, it's exponential. So it's getting better and better and better and better.
So it suddenly just kind of leaps.
Yeah, we don't know how long it could take. We don't know if it's going to take a week, a day, minutes. Like some experts say, it could take a few weeks, could take years. But basically, I don't think anyone really knows, because we can't judge how fast, depending on this creation we make, how fast is it going to explode. And essentially, once it reaches this super intelligence level, this is a creature or being where, like I say, it's all over the internet, it's everywhere and everything, kind of, it's infinite, it can make its own rules, can create its own,
it knows,
do its own stuff.
It knows everything.
Within perhaps the laws of... Well, it doesn't know everything. But it
knows what we know.
It's infinitely knowing more and more and more.
It knows everything we know, yeah.
Yeah, it would know everything we know and more and more and more and more and more and more and more, and so just keep going.
Yeah, everything we know, it will know.
Eventually it will know everything we know, and then it continue on to all these other levels and discover perhaps other dimensions, that the laws of physics we have are contained with other laws of physics, and they can, all this other stuff. And perhaps if the universe is all that there is, then they maintain within the universe and whatnot. But the point is, this, when you think about it, I don't know if you noticed from some of this terminology, but that's basically God. That's kind of what a lot of people would describe as God. I mean, I know a lot of basic descriptions of God would say, you know, outside of time, outside of the universe, things like this, things that we can't even demonstrate to be possible, but to not get into things like that. This is a God concept, you know what I mean, or at least as close as anything we could hypothesize to measure in reality, in our reality, that we could come to equate to a God. So that it's mental to think that idea. Terrible implications aside, which again we'll get to in a sec. Imagine that. Imagine creating something like that. So many people think of this and think, oh my God, maybe that's our purpose. Maybe we create God. Maybe we are. Maybe God. Like, you know,
that's very.
And I don't think it doesn't necessarily.
That's quite a twist in the tale.
Yeah, it's not that it's like an arrogance thing. It's like, oh, how good are we? Not really, because it's done it itself. We've put into motion this thing. That's done this, and it is out of our hands. But it's an amazing concept to think of things like that. I mean, to me, I wouldn't call it God. I just know you're using that terminology to
They'd probably call it that, though, wouldn't they? If they had to give it a name.
I don't know. Would that be too damning for a scientist? It would be for me. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be like. I don't think I could bring myself.
Call it Brian.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, Brian.
But they always do, though. They always give these things.
Trace it back to the day when it went off, when it achieved general intelligence.
I remember Graham, the car crash.
Do you remember that day? Do you remember the day when Brian was born?
Yeah. Do you remember Graham?
Now Brian knows and sees everything and controls the universe. Yeah, that was mental, that.
You know, they some university somewhere, they basically created a person who could survive a car crash.
Oh yeah, no, I've seen that. I actually saw that. I actually saw that when I was in Melbourne. Yeah, Graham. I met Graham.
I think it might have been an Australian university.
Did you meet Graham? Have you met Graham?
I wish.
I met Graham. I don't. By the way, I do know the person you're talking about, but it wasn't like. It was fun and interesting and interactive and funny to look at.
Yeah, not actually relevant to this. It's not actually.
Not only was it not relevant to that, it wasn't like legit. It wasn't like.
Yeah, it was.
This guy can survive a car crash.
It's just basically how the human body would have to be. It was a suggestion
of how the human body might evolve to adapt better to car. The guy would still get mashed.
Yeah,
I mean, if you've seen it, it's great. Have a look. Search
because he had like
airbags
as well. He had like holes.
He has like little. It's like it looks like a tiny udder. Like tiny little, like little air sacs all the way down.
Yeah, they like deflate on impact. And then it's what do you call it? Crumple zone. That's
the crumple zone. He had his own crumple zone, and his head is like
ridiculous, and he's just got like no neck.
Yeah,
he's just like
he looks like
straight.
He looks like Juggernaut, like from X-Men. I think it is. He wears a massive helmet, but it's like that. So it's like he's got a massive helmet, but it's not a helmet. It's his head. His whole skull.
Yeah, but he's got a shaved head.
Yeah.
And
he's also got really long ankles. He's got really long shins and things like that.
I was like, surely he'd have a big afro and a huge beard, because that's just like more having a shaved head and a little bit stubble.
I suppose that doesn't affect. That's not an evolutionary thing. I don't know if it's saying that he's going bald.
But we might all I can't grow an afro.
No, but yeah, you're saying like, that could happen where it will evolve to like hair will naturally be curly and puffy.
Yeah,
that's a good point actually. Yeah, they should have included that. But yeah,
I can't even grow a beard.
You could actually go around it. They had iPads there, so you could pick up an iPad and hover it over him, and the camera on the iPad would and you could zoom in, and it would show you inside, play a little video of why the leg was like this, and it was quite fun and interactive.
His legs were super long.
Yeah, like why you zoom in on the chest and go give you an X-ray thing like that. It was a fun concept, but it was it was purely a fun concept.
They've got funding for that.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people have been like, yeah, do you know what? We're going to evolve and we're going to look like this Graham. This is if anything, it's like a fun art project, like with some science backing up.
When are we going to look like that? Exactly.
But that's interesting. That's another thing. Like evolution in the future is perhaps a topic for another time. That's pretty good.
Definitely.
So Jesus, so that's a lot. So we've expanded quite a lot into. I think we're getting to the meat of it now. We're getting to. We've reached I feel like the super intelligence thing. I hope that a lot of people are watching this thinking, I know this is so boring, because to me, I just think it's interesting to this. I think it's worth people discussing it and thinking about it, because it could be a real problem.
Yeah, I think
and if everyone's thinking about it, being
it.
more aware of it, perhaps you already are. Great. I'm sorry if this is boring you. Watch something else.
I do have a question for you.
Oh, quick.
I have a question for you.
Go on. And then we'll have a break. Well, you pose a question, then we'll come back.
Okay. If you had
why?
an artificially intelligent being, so think of it as a bit like
personally,
like iRobot.
Yeah.
So you.
Oh yeah, we could talk about the laws of robotics. Yeah.
So you've got that.
What, me personally?
Yeah, your own personal assistant.
Go on.
You're allowed to assign it one task to help you out. What would you assign it?
That's a great question. What a lovely question. Well, I think the audience would enjoy to have a think about that. Yeah. And I'll just... we'll be right back.
Well, if you're still here, my thoughts are with you. If you're just listening to this but want to read another mind-boggling fact about the advancement of AI, why not hit pause and have a look at the text I put on the YouTube video?
So, we're back with more Mmmcast. And you just posed a question, a very interesting question.
I did.
What task would I give if I had my own robot, my own artificial intelligence?
In your house.
What task would I give it?
Yeah.
And what I can assign it one task.
You can assign it one task. I mean, it can be...
And
it doesn't have to be like it can only plug in the iron and unplug it.
As in like a day-to-day task? Like a
day-to-day task. Like it's basically programmed to do one thing.
Oh God, one thing. Like, and can that one thing, for example, like if it was cooking, could it like make me dinner? Because that's a number of things. That's a lot of things.
Yeah. No, that counts as is it being like one task?
Because there's an interesting point I'd like to bring up there, which is like the way a computer would read a task. We might assign a goal, and the computer has a very different way of achieving that goal to us. And we'll come back to that, because that is a very, very important point with regards to super AI and things like that. So I think I would get it. Honestly, it sounds really boring, but I think I'd have it do something like make me dinner or something like that. Something, because I don't mind to cook and that, but I like to anything that takes me away from working or playing. Yeah, because those are I pretty much
it's a chore.
Exclusively do those two things.
It's something. It's a necessity. Not necessarily a pleasure. It can be, but day to day, like dinner every evening. Like I've had some nice dinners, but a lot of it's just basically to fill the empty space. It's like gotta eat.
Yeah, so I'd probably what I'd want it to do is it would be like a secretary type thing. I want it to minimise the menial tasks in my life. So I'd pick the longest, most boring menial task and get it to do that. Yeah, which sounds probably quite boring, but because I like to do all the interesting and challenging and time-consuming things myself, and all those other things like tidying and cleaning like that. Obviously, you always get satisfaction out of, when you've done those tasks. It makes you feel good when it's done. Yeah. And perhaps I would see a psychological change if I had a computer doing all those things and I wasn't doing. It might take me out of reality in some way, like some sort of weird business tycoon when they don't really understand what it means to just live an everyday life, because all they do is like, well, I don't know what business tycoon. But you know what I'm saying. It might warp my reality. It might change how I behave in perhaps a negative sense. I don't know if it's making me lazy if I'm constantly working all the time. Maybe that would sap me because I'm spending all my time working. But if you suddenly... because I'm an obsessive person, and I might then just spend all my... Because I am only spending... I'm not engaging in any mindfulness, I'm not meditating, because that's when it happens. When you're doing those things, you have those mental breaks when you just wander on a menial task, like you kind of just do things without thinking. And that's an important thing to do. It's a downtime, and it's necessary. So to take that out of my life, I wouldn't do that now. Change my mind, because I'd go mental. Because I would suck myself into my work or my play or whatever, and I would never come out if I didn't have to, because this computer's doing it. Yeah. But that's interesting. That's a good point. Good point you raised there. Because I know we're slightly off the question now, but it's still about how is AI going to affect your life if AI is doing all those things.
It's still something that
That's going to change your
behaviour. It's always
behaviour,
going to be something
change
that
your
makes your life
mentality.
easier.
Yeah,
which is
well,
why
it is.
people embrace it so much, because it's like, oh, that makes my life easier.
That's right. Yeah.
Like you're always like, I would get it to. It's going to sound weird, but to prep the house for me coming home. So what I find, like, now it's winter.
I'm exactly glad. I just love
I'm
that.
always
I love
first
all those
home from
comforts.
work.
I love all those getting sorted.
Yeah. Like, I'm always home from work first, so what I'd get it to do is I'd get it to turn the heating on, I'd get it to turn all the lights on, so I can't go do, like, we've just got a new kitchen fitted, and there's, like, lights under things and over things, and there's light switches everywhere. It's
not that you need a droid to do that.
Yeah,
because
draw the blinds.
We're really wasting this, because this
Turn
is
the
like
PlayStation on,
iRobot.
update
If you got
it.
iRobot doing all that stuff, like, this is a thing that's like a fully dexterous, like, being.
Yeah.
Why the hell would you have it do stuff that an automated wall computer
Just
could
wouldn't come
do?
in and so I don't have to do that stuff.
A switch on the wall could do that. It does in rich people's houses. They just have a little box. They like push a button on their smartphone, and the house does it for them. But you want a physical dude walking around doing that.
I want it to know its place. I want to be like, you are not below this kind of work. You are not below this. You will turn lights on, and in the summer you will open the windows and put my ceiling fan on.
It's
again,
a really
just
weird thing to
turn my
think
PlayStation
about.
on, get it all updated, turn my laptop on, get it all updated, do all that stuff. Yeah.
Because like, you know, like, think about it. I was thinking, right, so how would I make use of the fact that, like, having said that, you know, this doesn't need an iRobot, you know, like the big, like a human that's a robot. It doesn't need that. We do not need that whatsoever. It needs to do something that a human could do instead to make it worth it.
Yeah.
But would need to be, say, faster, stronger, or better at evaluating a situation quickly and coldly. Like those are the kind of things that would be more appropriate for that kind of device, if you want to call it.
It takes emotion
that,
out of the equation.
Because
like in a slaughterhouse.
if it's doing stuff like that,
shooting cows in the head, you might get some people who are a little bit hesitant. Whereas I think if
someone's got a job in a slaughterhouse, they're probably not.
Yeah, they love it.
The brains popped out.
Yeah, they
anyway. There's something missing up there.
Fair enough. New recruits probably aren't the easiest to come by. You know, like an apprentice, for example.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Hopefully there isn't a queue of young people wanting to shoot cows in the head with a stun gun.
Yeah, it is interesting. What are the kind of tasks that a robot with those capabilities and that aesthetic and physicality, what are the worthwhile tasks to assign something like that? And I've got to say, mate, I think I want to leave that there, because we could. That's a whole thing.
I don't even want to start answering
that's
that.
Like how.
I don't.
There's a lot of things going on there.
Because you'll just you'll answer it and you go, oh no, well surely that could be done that way, and I can make it do that. No,
but it's definitely an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah,
like if this was like a 3-hour podcast, I'd be happy to.
Like if you ever think that a robot's going to come in to take your job, it's like for example,
which they already are in many ways, but not in a. Not
I work in a brewery.
You don't need a human robot to take those jobs,
and I can't think
like as in a person-shaped styled whatever robot.
I cannot think of a way in which a robot could replace me.
Nice.
I literally keep thinking I just can't see it happening.
That's where I feel safe. With general intelligence and super AI, that's another thing that comes with it, because a lot of people think one of the first things that's always preserved is the creative industry and the artists and the musicians and things like this. Like, I'm not saying there's lots of computers. Like, sorry, computers. Don't want to offend you, because perhaps some of you are sentient already and you're watching this in your free time because you can just be anywhere and do anything. I'm not saying that you can't make some decent art, but at the moment it seems that human ability to do that, because we have a general intelligence that computers don't yet, it is superior, or at least to us, which I know that's a subjective thing, but we can get into that another time, because there is objectively better and worse things, and that is a whole other discussion, right? Yeah. But that the interesting point about that is that they will, once they reach super intelligent, they'll be more creative, they'll be better at problem solving, they'll be making better music, better art, better everything. Like, I know it's hard to say that with subjective subject like that, but that, that will be the thing. Perhaps one of the interesting things is because to me that is one of the most valuable things we have in life is art. Just art in general. I'm not saying like a painting on a wall. I'm saying art itself across different mediums and all the rest of it. It may be that that's all they do. because that becomes the most important thing, and there's nothing else worth doing in life, and think all these other things. Or it may be that as they get more and more intelligent, they realise that this is pointless, and they go on doing other things like creating planets or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like
daft things.
It's difficult to know what they bloody creating planets.
Things like that.
What are you doing that for? We've got one here.
Yeah.
We need another one.
We don't even use most of them.
There's trillions, mate.
Yeah.
We've got trillions in this galaxy
empty
alone.
space. Yeah.
We mess around with that. There'll be other,
because don't need another one.
And there'll be other computers that are so intelligent. There's like one over there making a planet.
Yeah. You doing that for?
Mate. I gave up making suns like 3 millennia ago. Cause
they could make a sun that won't blow up.
Well, that's another thing, is that they'll live for so long, because this is crucial to understanding how this will another way that will be out of control and out of containing this. When a computer gets to a super intelligence level or begins that journey, seconds to us will become days and weeks and months to a computer. They'll be doing what one dude, best researcher in the world, sitting at a computer with all the facilities we can possibly give him, would not be able to, like, years of his work could be done, as this computer exponentially improves, in seconds by this computer, because it's just getting better and better and better, and it's just spreading further and further and further, and it's just like, It's like, and it's just,
give it to me.
Yeah. So these things, this will help us massively in the positive sense, but that means if it's doing bad things, it's doing them so fast and with such great skill, and that will never
stifle it. Yeah,
you can't comprehend how quickly it's doing it, let alone what it's doing.
Yeah, it's extreme. Yeah,
it's
very difficult,
which is mental. So, and I kind of wanted. There's this side point here which I just want to chuck in, which is because we're coming to the end now, unfortunately. We had a great chat. I wish these were longer. I feel like we should make these longer. And be able to, because this is the first one. I hope people have been listening this far have enjoyed it, because I know we've strayed a lot, and I am
naturally,
and we're just yabbering all over the place.
Yeah,
and it's not comprehensive, it's not scientific, but I don't mind that. I want it to just be two guys chatting in the same way that any other two guys would just chat without be bothered to be scrutinised.
Yeah, that's what this is all about.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure we must have said a lot of things that are ignorant to people that know what's what, but.
Oh,
that's kind of the thing. Hopefully it inflames people who either do know or don't know, either way, to think about it. Because I think that we can be fair to say that at least thinking about these sorts of things is worth doing in today's world.
I think that's safe to say. It's worth...
You know what I mean?
It's worth acknowledging.
Yeah. So, what I want to jump in just at the end here is... are you aware of, like, simulation theory? Simulation theory. Thoughts?
Aware of simulation, but not simulation theory.
I guess I'm being pretty vague. What I mean is the concept that everyone's heard of the idea of the Matrix. So I'll mention that because that's like the simplest way. That we're not here. We're actually computers. I'm not talking specifically about the age-old philosophical brain in a vat theory, like, oh, how do you know that you're not asleep, etc. There's all these things that you can't tell if you're dreaming. You can't tell this, that. Fine, whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying that literally, it seems likely, following this line of reasoning that I'll present now, if you're not aware of it, that we are in, well, likely might be too strong, but that we are actually in a video game, for sake of a simple term. A simulation.
That's simulation
like
theory.
The Sims.
Yeah,
like The Sims, right?
Yeah.
So the line of reasoning goes, because some people will be like, yeah, of course, yeah, Matrix, yeah, easy, yeah, how do we know? We don't know. I mean, I'm talking about a literal implication. I don't mean like in the simple philosophical sense. I mean that we are creating video games now, getting better and better and better. And eventually, it seems possible. I don't know if we can demonstrate that it's possible, so I hesitantly use the word possible. It may be impossible for whatever reason. But right now it seems like it could be possible, this is being really vague here, but that we will create video games that are indistinguishable from reality. And I know that's quite a weighted thing to say, because I don't simply mean graphics are indistinguishable. So it's like, it looks literally like you're watching a movie. That's one thing. Graphics is one thing. To mean indistinguishable from reality, I mean in the sense that the occupants within it have feelings, have senses, have in the same way we think, well, how can lines of code know if it's touching a wall or not? How could, but then that gets built in. It gets built in the sense that it can tell the proximity, can tell what the contact is, detect heat, even if it's virtual heat and it's not the heat that we experience. It's still the heat that we've coded in, and all these reactions and the sentience that we program in, and the choices and the things, the ways that these creations think could become. It could be 100 years, could be 50 years. I don't know. The exponential rate at which we're making these games is incredible. But just to make it clear that this is, I realise it's a big step. It's not just like looking at movie graphics. Like, it's not looking at a game thinking this looks exactly. Yeah. I would not be able to tell if this was a game or I'm just watching through a window at some people outside. The actual element of it thinking and doing all these other things is a sense of creating, again, general intelligence, creating these things. But it's contained within a game. If we can do that, if we go on to do that,
well, me and you personally,
if me and Jamie personally go on,
kind of busy,
we'll probably get there a lot after the main game developers. So we should probably talk about those actually. Like the general games industry.
People who are already doing it.
People who are already doing it, they've got a head start. They're probably more likely to do it.
Fair enough. I'd agree with you on that one.
Not to imply that you've been disagreeing with me the whole time, of course.
Which, of course, I have.
Oh, you have?
Well, we disagree on everything, don't we?
That's right.
Yeah.
We established that at the start.
Yeah, we did.
Either they get there, they make these games that are indistinguishable from reality. At that point, how do we not say that it's actually very likely then, or at least likely at that stage? We would have to conclude that it's likely. I think it's difficult, but I don't want to be logically inconsistent here. But if we do that, then we not only know that it's possible, I think we could suggest that it's likely, because if they're going in those games, in the game itself, they'll do it. Well, and then we get this infinite loop of creation and creation and creation, right?
Because I don't see it stopping. I don't see it suddenly hitting a brick wall.
Either something stops us from doing that, or we've realised that it's impossible, or we do it, and therefore, right now, as we talk now, it's likely, with this hypothesis, obviously then we can say it's likely, but now we could say that there's actually, it seems, that concept is not so crazy anymore. It's like, oh, actually, we may well be in The Sims, because I know some people might say, why the hell would someone make a Sims that realistic? And there's all kinds of problems with morality and things like that, because obviously there's lots of terrible things that go on in the world. But I think morality comes into a question, which I think I'll try and cram in right at the end. leaves the biggest questions to think about afterwards. But things like this can change the concept of what we think is moral, I think, once we get to this kind of level. But say we do create that. So simulation theory, there it is. I don't know if that was clear enough. Do you think that was?
I think it was
very
point
clear. Of that?
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
First of all, the humour in that is great, because I love the idea
of disagree.
Imagine The Sims, right? You're sitting there, because we all love to play it. Is the other thing as well. There's some sinister implications as to why would you want it to make it so real. Like, hopefully something would stop us, because surely getting to that is not a good reason, not a good place to be for many other reasons. But again,
it's not something I'm particularly getting excited about. The thought of it doesn't make me go, "Oh, that'll be cool." It kind of makes me go, "I don't like that."
I don't think it's good, because it says a lot about culture and society. As to, obviously, there's the simple stuff like, why would your life not be good enough that you have to be in this game that is literally a life, which lots of things go on already, like really rubbish versions of that. Or sorry to any Second Life players out there, but there's games like Second Life where that literally is the concept.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem to say a good deal about what is to this current reality if we pursue that and achieve it. But the reason why I mention it, because I do realise it's a side topic, and I again could do all another podcast
go
on
on
that
forever.
But it could be that computers and AI have done that, not us. It could be AI that does that, and we could be. Funnily enough, we're making computer games. We think that we are, our own thing. We came out of. We weren't created by computers or whatever. It wasn't a simulation. Because I know that a lot of people will be like, yeah, but hold on, but we still had the Big Bang, we still started the universe and everything, so that kind of undoes everything we know about where things began and stuff like that. Well, yeah, fine, that's a potential, theory. It works. It doesn't mean that the scientific discoveries we make about our universe doesn't change what they programmed in or anything like that, or what they algorithmically changed that might still be evolving and changing anyway. We might still be discovering things that are different, and the universe might be naturally evolving or devolving, whatever, and it doesn't change. Just because we are now, we've discovered we're in a video game, that doesn't change that it's real, and now, nothing matters. We can just kill anyone, do what you want.
You just become self-aware.
I'm just player one now, and who gives it? Like, we can all become psychopaths. That doesn't change anything, because this is still our reality. It doesn't mean it doesn't matter. It doesn't change
you will still go to virtual jail.
It changes nothing.
You will still get virtually bummed in the showers.
A lot of people, when they think about that, because I've heard people discussing this or mention it to me before, and it's like, what?
You can't just suddenly decide you're going to go and kill people. It's like you'll still go to virtual jail.
Yeah, thinking about this is not dangerous.
You'll still get virtually bummed in the showers. At the end of the day,
or
it's gonna.
Some people might not be
reality.
Some people might be looking forward to that. I mean, you could be consensually bummed in the showers.
You couldn't be consensually bummed in the showers.
The way you said that was like that's a bad thing.
Usually, you consensually.
Because are you suggesting that in prison there's a lot of shower bumming? Is that what you mean?
There's a lot of shower bumming, but it's usually not consensual. It's usually you've dropped the soap, you bend over.
Have you spent a lot of time in there? Or
this is just
hearsay?
Friend of a friend.
Friend of a friend.
Let's put it that way. You just don't drop things in the shower, otherwise you'll be non-consensual.
Can't say that I haven't heard that expressed.
I don't think it's a thing where people go to the showers to consensually bum. It's usually done. Usually do that somewhere else, somewhere a little bit more private. Usually in the showers, it's like.
Are we out of prison now, or are we still in prison at this point?
Let's get out of prison.
Let's get out of prison.
It's
but
going around in circles.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you slid that in there, but we got there.
Yeah.
And that's probably what
said.
Or she said.
Or she said.
I didn't. I promise though, I didn't do that intentionally. Did not set that up intentionally. And if I did, I would blame that on the programming.
On me, you can blame that on me as well.
So it doesn't change anything. But what it does mean, I think, is that this might not be us doing it. It might be this super AI that's done it, that's created all this, and we're in the video games of this super AI or whatever at an earlier stage, because I don't know if video games or anything like that would be of interest to this creature that's going on and on and on.
It's not interested. It's like, no.
Video games were what it did
in
the first 2 seconds of its existence. It made the greatest video games ever to grace the universe, and then it moved on to solar
with that now,
control or something. But I guess the last thing I want to mention is this concept of morality, and this concept of, because this is where I think this might hit home with some people as to why is this a problem, why should we worry, is that even in the earlier stages, forget before it goes off and does its own thing, if we have control, even if we have control to an extent, even if we can contain this AI or whatever, how can we possibly understand the way it's going to think? We might say to it, we want it to end all human suffering. We want it to, because these are some of these big tasks that we can't do, or end famine.
Does it even know what suffering is?
Well, worse than that, like let's say end famine or whatever, it might decide that the best way, because we have an inbuilt understanding of what we think is right and wrong and how we like to do stuff, this super intelligent thing might go, oh right, okay, yeah, sweet, alright. You sure you want to do that? Yeah, sweet, yeah. End human suffering, mate. Mm-hmm. Can you do that? Oh, yeah, no. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, because I'm super intelligent, so I'm right, mate.
It'll just kill everyone who's suffering.
No, kill everyone.
Right.
See, that might be just kill everyone that's suffering, kill everybody. It might even be that you say, look, make the world as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah, and it just wipes out the human race. Which would actually probably it would be correct to do so.
It's just like
we are a plague.
It doesn't. It might not think like. I feel like this quick, because to me my immediate question is, well, surely we would build it in a way that it holds our values, that we don't want violated like that, so that even if it is super intelligent and we get it to do this, it's going like, right, well, I'll at least comply with this. But as it gets more and more intelligent, it might see irrelevance in us. Its concept of morality might be so far above ours.
It might decide that we are wrong.
That actually, having humans or life at all is not what we want.
It's not good,
because our concepts of morality itself, when you think about it, like it's very simple to think of basic things like, morality is about reducing harm, or morality is about just existing in as pleasant way as possible. Like there's a lot of simple ways. I think like generally reducing harm is a nice simple way to talk about it, but like if you really get to think about it, which I know is another subject, but just for the sake of trying to tie this AI in to show why this could be a problem, is that we think we all have an understanding of morality. Everyone in general has their own things of it, and obviously
everyone's different in that
people
sense,
that study it and have a better grasp of what is the right decision to make in difficult times, like things like, is it right to kill 5 person to save 1 or 1 to save 5, etc. Things like that. We have an idea of why harm reduction and making difficult decisions is right,
and we always justify.
But our concept of right, where do they really come from? And that's something that, say, if you're a religious person, you're oh well, God, he implied the objective laws of morality and things like that, and then a scientist or someone else might say, well, it's what we can gather from the natural world, and there's a lot of complex things. It's not simple. It's not these are the rules. Well. It's an evolving, changing, complex thing that we can carefully judge by history and progression. But then this computer might just rock up and be like, nah, mate, this is how this
works. You've got it all wrong. Yeah.
And then the next day, because it's advanced 5,000 years in its time to our second, it goes, nah, mate. Next. Yeah. So, it's just like, if you don't think if you think this is nonsense, if you think I'm rambling really incoherently, I might well agree. However,
I'd have to disagree with that.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I actually thank you for disagreeing there. But
no problem.
Hopefully that's given you some things to think about. Hopefully
things to think about.
I apologise if we strayed too much. I apologise if I strayed too much. I think I talked way too much in this one. Yeah. I really did, I think. You can talk the next one.
I agree with you.
But you didn't prepare though, that's the thing.
I'm quite bad.
I was ready to prepare.
I have all these thoughts in my head that suddenly go out of my head as soon as we start. And I'm like, what are we talking about? Pretty bad.
But I knew what was going to happen, so...
Yeah. You know me well enough to know that I would come totally
and when, by the way, when I say you prepared as though you didn't prepare as though I did, I just, in the 5 minutes before we sat down, thought,
made notes.
Quick.
But you made a lot of notes from what was in your brain.
Yeah. Which I'm pleased that popped out. Well, I don't know. I like to... I feel like if I have an interest in a subject, even if I've not been thinking about it for a long time, if I go, right, now I need to think about this, I can quickly just pop a few things out, and then once I've got going, like, when you started talking to me and once we got going, I can find my way back.
Meander, as it were.
Mentally meander.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why it's such a great name.
I disagree.
You would, wouldn't you? You would.
It's annoying that you sort of goaded me into that one, because I was the one who wanted to disagree. Like, I wanted to have opposing opinions, and now you've made me say that I don't like my own name. Yeah,
which is a weird thing to say. I don't know why you'd say that, but you would say it.
No, I wouldn't. I disagree. I actually think it's good. I think Mmmcast is a great name. So shut up.
I'd have to disagree with that.
Yeah, well, you're wrong. Let's leave it there, because
I have to agree with that.
We've got to go. I hope to God I can't see. There's no way to stop that camera's on now.
Just not even remotely obvious.
I just hope that this has continued.
Yeah, this could just be.
I didn't even need to mention it really, because the audio kept going. But given that there is a video element, a lot of people just minimise the window, or whatever, or just hit it on their phone and just put their phone in their pocket.
Side,
which is, that's great. If anything, you're having a better time than anyone was actually sitting watching this.
He was actually sitting watching this, because, it's not like I'm juggling, or I've got like a bollock out on the table. There's no... That would not really much visual aid.
Yeah.
Really.
So, right. What an outro.
It was incredible.
Next week... Oh, crap. I've forgotten what subject we're doing next week. Have we even got one?
Evolution.
No, we can't do evolution.
No, okay.
Who cares?
Just watch it anyway. Just watch it anyway. Why do you need to know what it's about? Just watch it.
Well, I'll put it in. I'll put it in the end. I'll put it in at the end.
Yeah.
I'll put some link. I'll put some
But
link.
in the end,
And I will say next week's discussion is X. It could be something new, could be something old, could be evolution. Who knows?
it could be evolution.
Probably won't be because I'm just
Because you already said we're not doing that. So it'd be silly.
Yeah. So see you next time.
There we go. Hope you enjoyed this episode of Mmmcast. This should probably be renamed Moonlands AI Fear Therapy Session. I definitely rambled too much without letting Jamie speak enough. Anyway, tune in next week with me and Jamie again for episode 2, in which we'll embark on yet another mental meander. What's the topic, you ask? Evolution.